right, welcome back. I'm Walt Gray. If Kamala Harris becomes a nominee for the Democratic Party, there are a lot of questions about what are her realistic chances to win the White House. I'm joined now by longtime Sacramento political reporter Steve Swatt. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you here, obviously. You've been following all this. So with Joe Biden out, in his resignation letter, he endorsed Kamala Harris. Mm-hmm. So does that mean that's what's going to happen?
I would say that probably is going to happen.
Okay.
Now, convention could be thrown open. All the delegates that are pledged to Joe Biden are free agents right now. And there could be some candidates who throw their hat into the ring. But Kamala Harris, certainly getting the endorsement from the president is critical. And she really worked the phones yesterday. Mm-hmm. She lined up endorsements from members of Congress and governors and unions.
Right.
And so she is really consolidating her base and moving forward. I think it's hers to lose for sure.
Biden dropping out because there wasn't a path forward for him to win the nomination. But if you look at current polls, Kamala Harris is polling about the same as Joe Biden. So what would be the point of Biden out and Harris in if not much looks like it could change?
It could change, though. First of all, the whole campaign is a reboot right now. And so the whole idea of people saying, well, Joe Biden's too old for this job, mm-hmm. right? He's too old to run for president again. Well, if that's what you believe, then you now have Donald Trump, who's the oldest presidential nominee in U.S. history.
Right.
And so the entire campaign is sort of flipped right now. Now, the big question is whether Kamala Harris and her team can pull this off.
Right.
The polling, she polls a little bit better than Joe Biden against Donald Trump, but I think the party now is re-energized. They've been in the doldrums since June 27th, the debate.
Right.
And so I think you're seeing a different, energized party. Money is flowing in now. It's different.
What's wrong with it going to a convention? Everybody seems to be saying, oh my gosh, Chicago in '68.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of stuff going on outside the convention. And Jerry Rubin and all that stuff was crazy. The whole thing was crazy. But if you go to a convention, you have an opportunity to see everybody who might be interested, all job applicants accepted here, and then you make a decision. What's the point of making the call now?
And there are some people who say that's what we should do, or that's what they should do at the Democratic convention. But I can go back to some examples where that has backfired. 1964 Republicans, Barry Goldwater and the moderates, and they fought publicly.
Yeah.
They lost in the election. 1968 you mentioned. 1976 Ronald Reagan takes on Gerald Ford very publicly, and it's really split, and down to the end, Gerald Ford ends up losing. And then you had 1980. You had Jimmy Carter and Ted Kennedy at the convention, a big fight there, and Jimmy Carter ends up losing. So those are four examples where you sort of aired the dirty laundry in your party, and it didn't help you in the election.
The Republicans have already rolled out the ads against Harris.
Yes.
Obviously, they're going to tie her to the problems at the border, and they're going to tie her to everything that they were targeting with Biden as well.
And to California.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does Harris run on something that is not Biden?
Well, she runs on other issues. I mean, the first couple of years when she was vice president, her numbers were really low, mm-hmm. Low approval ratings. She found her voice after this U.S. Supreme Court struck down Roe versus Wade on the abortion issue. And I think, she runs on that a lot and hits that home. She's obviously much more energetic than President Biden, and I think that will show on the campaign trail.
Now, Harris ran for president in 2000, and NBC News just came out with something. Headline said, when she ran in 2020, her campaign was a mess.
It was.
And her campaign was awful.
It was.
Right? So what's changed other than the fact that she was vice president, which gives you somewhat of a halo effect?
Well, that's part of it. It's also depending on who she is surrounding herself with. I mean, she had some real problems with her staff and staff infighting, and it would serve her well to make sure there's none of that going on, because that can ruin a campaign. She does have, 4 years experience as mm-hmm. vice president, and that mm-hmm. counts a lot. A lot of her vice presidency was, shall we say, nondescript.
Okay.
She was sent down to the border to do some work down there and try to shore up the border. That didn't work out.
Okay, quick yes or no. Do you see Kamala Harris getting the nomination?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see her beating Donald Trump?
I wouldn't go that far yet.
Okay.
Donald Trump has a solid lead right now, things will change.
And
There's a reboot, but I would say right now Donald Trump still is slightly favored.
Okay, and the Republicans are unified. Steve, good to have you here this morning. Thank you.